today's focus will be just being vulnerable, being fearful, being scared, and still stepping out. So I would say today is, what are you becoming? So, to think about my own journey, to think about where I'm trying to go, I had to revisit the past. So I just kind of start off with my childhood, what turned me into, I feel like, the man I'm becoming, and what has transpired that I have to overcome, like my trauma, my past. So how I got here is, I'm the second oldest of 11 kids. It's about a 2-year age difference between all my brothers and sisters. And my mom had my brother when she was 17 years old. My dad was 15, so I came along when she was 20. So I guess working in the school, seeing how the kids behave, and then seeing where I come from, I can kind of tell that a lot of children that's growing up grew up with parents who were children when they had them. So it's really like the effects of a kid having a kid, and the certain things that you're not taught just because of lack of understanding, lack of knowledge, being young. And so I feel like our generation of parents, though they were good parents and tried their best, I still feel like they missed out on some key ingredients for us to establish healthy relationships with ourselves. So if I'm going back, it's like I remember being young and not having any confidence in myself. And I might have appeared to be confident, but like on the inside, I knew I wasn't confident, and so it stopped me from doing some things. It stopped me from being social. It stopped me from really pursuing certain things because the fear of failure, fear of people won't like me, fear of people, they're gonna talk about me, they're gonna see my past. So I remember vividly being a kid and not making friends because I didn't want them to find out where we stayed at, or our issues that we had, or to find out we didn't have no money or anything. Just to make it full circle and understand that I was really being protected a little by God, just so I wouldn't get tainted, but I did miss out on a lot. So what led me kind of here today is, just kind of seeing the kids struggle with being themselves, their identity. And I feel like in our homes, in our culture, we don't really talk about the things that's happened to us. We don't talk about things that people do to us. When things happen to us, I feel like they just happen and then the next day come. But I feel like after years, after years, after years, after things, they compound over the years to where it's like impossible to see yourself, and you end up blaming other people for why you in the position that you in now as an adult. So for me, today is just all about, who are you becoming, and are you healing from within? I learned something maybe a week ago, and I heard it from somebody speaking, and he said, happiness is what you share, it comes from within, is what you share with others, and pleasure is what you receive from the outside. So in that sense, I feel like first and foremost, you have to love yourself. So if I say where I've been and what I've been doing, I'll tell people that I've been working on me and working on how to love myself. And so I came up with the saying to control your own time or someone else will, because I started taking account to what I was doing with my time. I was kind of all over the place. I'm spending time over here, spending time over here, spending time over here. And while doing those things, I kind of realized that I wasn't spending my time wisely. So I started looking at time like currency. Where you spend your money at is where your time is at. So once I took account of where my time was, it's like naturally I wanted to do better. So I think as you grow, you actually start realizing this. You don't get to do more things. You have to stop doing less things, if that makes sense. Because as I'm growing and as I'm getting better, I recall myself just kind of understanding that it was certain things that I could no longer do, no longer say, or no longer be around to become the man that God had called me to become. So just taking into account and owning my own habits, owning my own thoughts, owning my own ways of living, and not blaming anybody. And then I want things out of life. I want better things for my family. So it's like somebody is dependent on me to fulfill my dream and purpose so they can fulfill theirs. So I started to realize that, you know, the generation needs me. Even though I'm scared and I don't know what I'm doing and I'm fearful even to be in front of a camera, at this very point in time, I'm still gonna do it, because in order to grow, you have to be uncomfortable. And even doing this is uncomfortable for me. However, though, I'm getting over it with courage. And I believe that, you know, you need fear to almost push you to prove to yourself that you can do it. So in this, you know, while I'm trying to figure it out, I also discovering who I am as well and coming into my own person. And that looks different for everybody, but for me, I would definitely say that helping the next generation come along is like, it's my purpose, it's what makes me fulfilled, it's what makes me feel like this life is meaningless. Because, you know, as we look around our communities and we see all the crime, the broken homes, how the children suffer, our literacy problem that's going on in our schools, it's almost to a sense where, like, you know, it's almost where our kids can't even be kids anymore because of the norm that we have created and not taking care of our offspring. So for me, being a man and becoming a father, what is fatherhood? What does that look like? How do we become better fathers? How do we become better husbands? And I feel like the way you start by that is looking within. So I read a few books on fatherhood principles, and one thing that stood out to me was a father is the source and the sustainer. So you have to source something come out of you that you have to source, then you have to maintain it. So I feel like in our community, we have to have standards for what motherhood is and what fatherhood is, and not necessarily talk down on people, but uphold the standard for the next generation to come. So I know for me, it's very difficult being a father in this season of my life because it was a model for me. And with the expectations that the world has for man, it's kind of hard becoming a father and becoming a man when you don't know what you're doing. And most times, you know, me being transparent, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm learning as I'm going. And so I feel like, you know, it's good to be around people who are allowing you to grow and allowing you to make mistakes, to become who you are and still loving on you at the same time. So I feel like everyone needs to find their purpose. I believe everything that was created with a purpose. Anything that doesn't have a purpose is probably haven't been created. No manufacturer makes something and don't have a purpose for it. So for me, I'm purpose driven, and I'm here to help people to discover their purpose. Not necessarily to tell them what it is, but it's a process that you have to go through to discover your purpose. And for me, it was get in control of your time. Your most valuable commodity that you have is your time. And it's the thing that you can't get back, and it's probably the thing that we waste the most of. And so, you know, the last 5 years, I've been keeping track of what I'm doing with my time, making sacrifices to gain something. And I feel like no sacrifice, no gain. And so in controlling my time, I make sure to do things with it that when I plant seeds, a harvest come from it. Not necessarily today or tomorrow, or, it's not a monetary thing, it's a spiritual thing that I know that if I'm helping others, that God would naturally help me. So are you purpose driven, or are you just living? Are you just waking up in the morning? And I can't answer that question for you, but the goal is to always make you look within to see or appreciate the thing that you can't get back, which is your time.